Hey, good morning, everyone. We're getting ready to start the rule of thirds assignment once you get all of your other stuff completed, okay? Got a few of you getting ready to start this today. This is a finished example of what it could look like, okay? Mr. Middleton's been working on this one for the past couple of days. But, again, the rule of thirds, it's remember, any picture you look at, any surface, it could be this address sheet, can be broken down into basically thirds, okay? So you can see my line here, 1, 2, 3, 4. These points are called focal points. This is where the eye generally goes to whenever we look at a painting or a drawing or anything like that naturally. So Mr. Middleton, remember, he's made you a template, okay, where all you got to do, okay, this is good for like a sketchbook size paper, but you can also think about this rule of thirds when it comes to like big old canvases like you see in Mr. Middleton's classroom. Again, you can break any surface down into, these thirds, and that's going to help you plan your composition, okay? So how I want you to do this, okay, and again, this is going to serve as some good shading practice and all this good stuff. So let me get to a fresh sheet of paper. So again, you can try to pre-draw it if you want. It's up to you, but where I would start first is I would simply make a square that's, it's going to fill up most of the size, most of your paper, okay? Again, notice I'm using the edge of the lid when I'm drawing, okay? So we're just going to start with a simple square, again, that's proportional to the picture that Mr. Middleton's asking you to draw, okay? Oh, got my line a little messed up there. You have to forgive Mr. Middleton because I'm filming with one hand and drawing with the other. So once you make this space, that's pretty big. I mean, we want to make our drawing fairly large. So when we draw, we're not drawing with just our wrist and fingertips, but where we're kind of using our whole arm, because that's going to make for a better drawing. So once you get your square done, you can put this underneath, or again, you've got the general right idea. I mean, you could draw a square, and if you can see it, then, basically we want to divide this up into thirds, okay? All right, so let's just draw this line. Ooh, straight down. Ooh, that was a long line. I'm gonna bring this line down here. Okay, and now I'm going to come over here to the side, and I'm going to break this up into thirds. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was good. Okay, now I'm just going to draw a line across. Bloop, right here, right there. Okay, so you can see my lines aren't too straight or anything either, okay, because we're sketching, all right? So once you have this drawn, okay, and of course you're going to use what's on the screen as well, okay? So Mr. Middleton's provided you with this and this so you can see what to do. Okay, now that we have this, let's go ahead and put a little mark to indicate where our focal points are. All right, so we have this. So again, remember, this is where the eyes are going to go to first, okay? Now, we got our grid drawn into our space. We're basically ready to start drawing, so let's take a look. So again, you see these points. Those are the focal points. You see the lines, okay? Now, look at where my pencil is. You see that edge of the circle? You see where it crosses the line here and here? And you see where that focal point is in relation to all this? That's how you're gonna place it into here. So as you're looking, okay? So I'm looking here, and I'm going to judge down this line where the bottom edge of that circle goes, and I'm going to draw it very, very lightly. And this part of the circle crosses the line almost in the middle as I look here. So I'm going to make that first, and I'm going to make it very, very light so I can erase later on. Then I'm going to look and see where this curve goes. It's a little bit below that focal point. So I'll come here, kind of come down about the same length, and then I'll just try to connect them. And if it's not, again, remember, please forgive Mr. Middleton, I'm trying to film and draw at the same time. So, you know, this rule of thirds is going to get you to a place, but you might have to adjust and you might have to, you know, fix some things. But all I got to do now is just complete that circle. Ta-da! Got our circle. Okay, now again, I might have to adjust this just a little bit, all right? But it's generally going to get everything in the right place. Now, I'm going to look, my next object is the block. So I see the block, and I see it's a little bit below that point. You see how it's a little bit below this line and those points? This edge right there. You see where my pencil goes? And you see the angle at which it's going, right? So I'm going to come here, down here to my paper. I'm going to look and see how far that edge of that block goes down. It goes about right here. And just like in our picture, it doesn't go all the way up to this line, but it goes right here below it. And then it crosses here. And then the corner goes almost to the middle, about right there. As you can see, well, it's not, it's almost to the middle. So I'm going to take that back just a little bit about right here. Okay? All right, and so that's the corner. This point right here is this point right there, okay? So I'm gonna come back, and I'm just gonna draw that on down. And at the bottom, you can see the angle of the bottom edge of the block. It's going like this. Notice where it's crossing the line right here. Notice where this corner is in relation to the line. Come here, bring it on down, and got a little bit of that back part, and then I'm just going to connect it. Just like this. See? Now we have this shape. Now we have this shape. Now, the other part of that block, a lot of times, and this is where we have to understand blocks. You see this? It's not going straight across. There's a slight little angle going this way. Okay? Let's come here. See that's about how far it goes. Again, I probably need a little more of my square over there, but again, it's going to work. Bring it down. And then I'm just going to connect my line. Okay. Now, my last circle that I'm going to turn into a sphere. That's sitting on top of this box. So I'm going to come and look. Oh, let me go back down. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and look. And I'm going to see this. It goes almost to that part of the line. It crosses this part of the line. It rests on top of the cube, so we won't see the very bottom of the circle, and then it crosses that part of the line there. Your focal point is going to be it's going to be right there. So you can see you got almost equal halves of your circle right here. And so what we're going to do, we're going to look, and it goes about right here. And then we've got remember, it's about equal on these halves, and we don't see the bottom of the circle, so it's going to be about like this. And then that circle almost touches the top. But if it doesn't go all the way there, that's fine, because you want to make your circle look like a circle. Okay. And then there we go. We've got our forms basically planned out. Now all we got to do is, this isn't all, okay? Because now when we're doing a drawing or whatever, painting, we've got all this stuff in the background that we want to account for, okay? So we see where we have this line here. That's just a corner, okay? And then we have a back line there. And then we have another one, which is right there. So we want to come in here and put them in place. Right there. I'm going to come up here, and it's above the line. It goes like this. And then this line goes about right here. Okay? All right, now from this stage, we got everything put together. Now comes our value and our shading. So you've got different shading styles that you can use. Remember, you got your scrumbling, hatching, cross hatching, stippling. I'm gonna use kind of like a scrumbling, blending kind of thing. And I'm using a nice rounded pencil. So before I start shading, first thing I'm gonna do is do a quick little value scale. Just to get my eyes and everything working the way it should, just like this. Okay, that's all it kind of takes. Nice rounded point on my pencil so I'm not leaving lines when I shade. But I mean rounded, I mean that, not the tip, but the point. I mean the side, the edge. So where I begin, I like to start with the stuff down here in the front first. And when we look at this sphere, it's not just a smooth surface. It looks like styrofoam. So I'm gonna think of a shading style that best shows that texture. So I'm gonna use the scrumbling. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a base down on this circle first. So, because we're gonna turn it into a sphere, okay? So I'm gonna put that scrumbling down first because that's gonna give us kind of that styrofoam texture. Again, you see I'm using the edge of my lid. Got to cut this video short here in just a moment, folks, because it's about 11 minutes long. It's going to take forever to download. So we would, scrumble and then continue to look at your form. So once you get your base value on, so you see that light spot, that highlight, that's this base value. Okay, that's the lightest it's going to get because we got to show something there. Then we'll come back and look at these values where they're darker on the form and just come back and start layering the darker tone on. So eventually, you'll get something like this. And it doesn't take a long time. Mr. Middleton worked on this yesterday. It's a sketch. It's not supposed to take forever. All right? You can work kind of quickly, aggressively, and, appreciate your results when you get done. So the rule of thirds, everybody. This is our next assignment, okay? This is a kind of a, oh, by the way, when you do this, make sure you put a little value scale like that at the bottom of your work, okay? This is what you're going for. This is your example right here. This size, little value scale, all the shading, okay? All right.